Hi, this is Tom Santini from Beyond the Tripod. I'm going to go out to my favorite honey hole this morning, see if I can capture any images of any wildlife or flowers or anything. And if I do, I'm going to take you back here, put it on the computer, and show you how I edit things. So let's get going. See you in a bit. This is my playground. Like my favorite spot to come photograph wildlife, a lot of birds. Got my favorite camera set up there, vehicles going by. You never know what you're going to find here. I just photographed a green heron a few minutes ago. He was behind one of these trees a little further back. He flew off. He was hunting. I didn't see him catch anything. That's a chance you get. Photographed quite a few owls in this spot. So this spot here never lets me down. There's always something to photograph here. Let's see if I can bring up that little guy. And this is, too much. That's what I was photographing just a few seconds ago. Hey guys, this is an image I just shot earlier this morning at my favorite honey hole. I'm in Lightroom right now, and this image is straight out of the camera. So I figured I'd show you how I edit my images. First off, I go to my profile here. If it's wildlife, I always go to landscape. If I was doing a person here, it would be portrait. But I go to this profile, it adds, as you can see, it adds some little bit of color. If you go from here to here, you can see it adds a little bit of color here. And you can watch a lot on my histogram here. These are all my colors. This is lights here, darks here. I have my warnings on for my highlights here and my darks here, blacks here. This is the black side of your histogram. This is your white lights or whites. So first off, like I say, I do my profile. Then I run down here to a lens correction, and I put enable profile corrections, and you'll see it shows that I was using my Nikon, the lens I was using in the profile for that lens and camera together, so that it gives it a little bit more depth and stuff. Next, I'll go up here to the crop mode, and I always crop to an 8x10. I want to move this over so I have the whole tree in there. Let's make it look like let's make it look like it's straight. All right. But you'll see this green heron here. I want to use rule of third lines in the crop mode. So I want to pull this to right there, where that's on his eye there. Pull it down a little bit. So about the body, he's got the rule of thirds right there and right there, because he's the main subject, and you want to leave room to its right so you see it looking away. If I was to crop this in, pull this in there, it'd be like, well, what's it looking at? It's got no room to go anyplace. So, but you want it room for it to like move away. So I'll leave it like that. And press done. So it looks like that. Next, we don't have to mess with the white balance because it looks pretty good. And I'm going into basic mode here. Looks a little light. So I'm going to do a little bit of an exposure. Drop the exposure down. Yeah, 0.05 looks. And as you see that, I dropped that exposure down. This blue lit up here, telling me it's the darks. I'm just hitting the far end of the histogram for the darks. So we'll take care of that in a little while though. Contrast, I'm going to give it a little bit of contrast, not much. Probably about 17. Like I say, you watch the histogram and see the colors all spike and stuff. You don't want a bunch of like little spikes. You want to try to get everything right in the center or between the left and the right at the end there. Highlights, I always bring them down. I'm going to bring them down to about minus 39 there. Shadows, we're going to bring the shadows up. Let's go a little more right there. I like that. Whites, there's not, this is whitish, but we don't want to concern ourselves with that. So we're not going to touch it, and it's not lit up there, so we don't need to do that. But my blacks, I am going to add a little bit of black to it. Not much. Plus 14. So that's looking pretty good. So now we're going to go down to this tab, the presence. It doesn't need any texture, I don't think. Clarity, I'm going to add a little clarity. Let's see, if you went no clarity, you can see that really takes away from the bird, makes it a drab looking image. But we'll give it about right there. Dehaze, it doesn't need to be dehazed, but if you went dehaze, you can make it, it just ruins it. So double click that and set it back to 0. Vibrance, you got to be careful with vibrance. You bring way up, you could turn that into a lime green yellow, or bring it down to it's very muted, almost no color. So you got to be careful with vibrance. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. Plus 17. That looks good. Saturation doesn't need anything. Like I say that. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Actually like a little saturation there. So let's go down the sharpening now. So in this, take this little tab here, press on there, and you can see there, I'm going to hold down my option, and you can see it turns into a black and white. But what I'm doing is I'm looking on the grain and stuff. You can see if I'm sharpening or not, just looking at it. I'm going to bring this to, let me go a little extreme. It's just a little, about 110. And you can see that. Now for the radius, you see here too. You always want to hit that on a Mac, the option key, and you can see where it's at to it. So I'm going to bring this to, oh, right there. I like that. Detail, same thing. You can see that moving. You don't want to go too crazy with this either, because you'll add a lot of noise to the image. Masking, you can see this really opens your eyes up here. You can see where it masked out all the stuff. So there we go. Okay, now we're going to go down to noise reduction. And if you use a noise reduction, other noise reduction software, you got to make sure that your noise reduction is set to 0 before you do that, because if you do it, it'll add noise to it. So I'm losing. We're going to go right there. That looks good. Now, we already did that. That's one of the first things we do. So here we go. Post-crop vignetting. I always want to put a little around there, around the edges, so it darkens those edges. And look what it's doing to that histogram as I'm pulling it to the left. We give it about 15, 16 is fine. And here, let's see, let's go full screen for a minute, see what it looks like. It's looking pretty good. Hit back the F key, back to regular. All right, now what I want to do, I got it looking good, but now I want to make it look really good. So let's go up here. This is the radio filter. So I want to hit this radio filter here. And I want to go right on the bird like this. Pull this in a little bit. All right. So on the exposure, see it darkened it up as on something from before. I want to bring this exposure up just a little bit. Like it about there. Contrast. Bring that up a little bit. Right there. Highlights, you want to bring them down a little bit. Right there. I'm watching this bird here the whole time, the green heron, I'm sorry. Shadows. Bring the shadows up a little bit. Okay. And you don't want to go too crazy with this. I'm going to go down here to sharpness. Right there. Hit done. And it's done. Let's go full screen again and see how it looks. I think it looks a little good. It looks really good. Now I want to get rid of some of the stuff in the background here. So let's go to the spot removal. And you can see this here. Now if you hit the left bracket key, it'll make that smaller. If you hit the right bracket key, it'll make it bigger, that circle there with the bullseye. So I don't like that little spot there. So it picks that there. Let's take that there. Let's take that there. That there. That there. How'd that do? That one there. Hit done. Get rid of all that. This stuff in the front doesn't bother me. Like I say, I'm not going to mess with this. And you see the histogram, it looks pretty good. Not too dark, not too light. And I think that looks very good. So that's how I got it. And that was just a quick tutorial or what I do to my images. And then when I export them to my desktop and stuff, I'll export them with my my name and my company name on there, so it's copyrighted. So when I'm done editing, I could go over to my keyboard and hit the backslash key, and it'll show the before and after, and that way you can see what a difference editing will make. And just to let you know, I did this nice and slow. It took 10-12 minutes. But regularly, when I edit, I could probably do these in less than a minute. And then if I have multiple images the same, I could copy and paste all my settings to the next one and just tweak the exposure and stuff. So you could really get through a lot of images pretty fast. But I took this slow, and hope to do these again in the future. Thanks for watching.